Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Nurse Babe Britt, and in today's video, I'm going to tell you how I stay organized and stay on top of my time management while working full-time, traveling, going to school, and having a life. So if that is something that interests you, then please stay tuned and listen for more. Alright, so let's get into it. A common question that I get is, how do you balance it all? And sometimes I don't know how. But in this video, I'm going to give you guys my secret recipe that brings me peace and harmony while balancing working full-time as a travel nurse, currently on a travel assignment, going to grad school in a DNP program, and also having a life, doing things that I want to do, go out with friends, travel the world outside of work related things and all that whole 9 yards. So at the beginning of the semester, what I do is I print out my course schedules for each course that I'm enrolled in. And if you're not someone who likes all the paper, you don't have to print the course schedule. But me, I like to touch it and feel it and be able to write all over it. If you don't want to do that, the alternative is just downloading the PDF and doing the same steps from there. So what I do is I print out all of my course schedules, and for the course schedules, they have all the deadlines for the entire semester on there. It has what module we're going to be covering, the dates, and the deadlines for discussion posts, papers, group assignments, all that good stuff. And also on the course schedule, it also has the dates for any Zoom sessions that we're going to have, because I am in an online program. So any Zoom sessions that we're going to have, it has it on there. So I print all of that out, and I also have an agenda. And so when I print the course schedules out, what I found is that the more classes I take, it gets more hectic trying to keep up with all those papers and check things off the list as I go. So I found having an agenda is helpful when you're enrolled in at least 3 classes. Anything 3 or more, you probably should invest in getting an agenda. And so I write all of my deadlines out on my agenda. So if I have a group paper due on a certain day, I write that out. If I have a discussion post due on, let's say, February 14th, I write that down, and maybe the reply post is due February 20th. I write that down. I write all of my deadlines out on my agenda for each class. Then I go back and I color code it, because it can be a lot if you're writing in the same color. Then it can be a lot to try to keep up with, like, which class is which. And so what you can do is you can either write in different color inks, or me, I just had a blue pen, and so, or a black pen, so I just write everything out, and then I go back and I highlight each class in a different color. So class A is pink, class B is blue, and class C is maybe yellow. And so I keep it the same for at least the whole semester, so I know what I'm looking at and I can keep up with it. And so as I do certain assignments, then I check it off, but I can still clearly see under that, okay, well, this is for a different class, this isn't for the same class. So after I do all of that, I compare my work schedule. I personally don't write my work schedule down in my agenda, but you totally can. It probably would make things easier. I just don't. I have an app on my phone called Nurse Grad, and I love Nurse Grad because whether I'm working day shift or night shift, it's just easier to see compared to using like my Google Calendar or my Apple Calendar, which if I'm working night shift, it makes it seem like I'm busy 2 days when really it's just like that night. And so Nurse Grid, if you haven't already heard of it, I recommend downloading it if you're a nurse. And you can just put your shifts in on there, and it's easier to see. And so I compare my work schedule on Nurse Grid with what I have on my agenda, and I visualize which free days I have, which off days do I have. And I also look at my personal calendar in my phone, like my Apple Calendar or my Google Calendar, and any event that I already have committed to, like let's say I have a wedding that I'm in that's coming up. I have those dates in my personal calendar, and so I know those aren't free dates. And so when I look at my agenda for school, I visualize all of those things. Like I said, it might be easier to add your work schedule and any other personal events, life events that you have going on to your agenda, so it's all in one in one space, but how I do it, I kind of keep it a little separate, one for school, one for work, one for personal life. And so I visualize which days I have off and that I'm going to be free. And I look at the assignments that I have coming up. And on those free days, I work on my assignments in the order in which they are due. And so if I have a discussion post coming up first, then I'm going to go ahead and knock that discussion post out the way. If I have a paper coming up that's due, then I'm going to go ahead and start working on the paper next. And then if I have a group assignment coming up, I'm going to go ahead and reach out to my group members. So that way, when I finish my discussion post and my individual paper, I can start on that group assignment. And that gives my group members time to like communicate, okay, what time is good for them, and we can sync a date and a time to have things done. So that is what I personally do. Another thing, if you are in school and you do have group assignments, something that the program I am currently in does is at the beginning of every semester, we have a group agreement form where you write out what assignments are the group assignments. You also write out what dates that you commit to having the first draft, second draft, and final draft completed. Who's going to complete what for the assignment. So it's something that kind of holds each person accountable. And me personally, I do believe that is something that helps. So even if your program doesn't require that, that is something that you could suggest. So that way you can add those deadlines to your agenda. And that is what I do as well. Whatever deadline I have agreed to with my group, especially if I'm going to be adding content to this assignment and not just like editing or whatever, I make sure that I add that to my calendar because that is something else that is on my list. And so I know it sounds like a lot, but it does really help with when you're organized, it helps you feel less stressed. So I do believe that the beginning of every semester is always the most difficult because you have probably new professors, you are taking a new course, and you're trying to adjust to new assignments, new deadlines, and you have whatever going on in your personal life. And so it can be a lot. Me personally, when I started the beginning of my semester, I also started a new travel assignment. And so there was a lot going on at once. And if you don't know, when you are a traveler, you have all these modules and, some classes that you have to attend depending on that hospital. And you have deadlines for that as well. And so it was a very crazy time for me. But I managed to get it all done. And so now it's just like, I wouldn't say smooth sailing, but I'm not as stressed. And so if you are struggling with organization or time management, I suggest getting an agenda. I will show you guys my agenda. So it's just like a regular spiral back agenda. And in here, this is what I meant by, okay, some things are color coded. So I use orange, yellow, and blue. And all of those colors correlate, like all the orange is the same class, all the yellow is the same class, all the blue is the same class. And this is for this month. And so for every month, I do the same exact thing. I also, in this agenda, I have where I have the calendar like this, where it's all together. I'm sorry if it's blurry. But then I also have the days like this. So that is something, if you need more space, this is more of a weekly view and not a monthly view, but you can write out certain details like, okay, this day I'm going to work on this assignment or study or, read these chapters. But for me, like I said, it's easier for me to plan when I can see it all at once, because if I'm here and this is coming up, then I can clearly see that without having to flip through the pages to even see that's coming up. And so for the next month, I did the same thing, and I did it for the entire semester. And so that is my number one recommendation. If you are balancing a lot, if you have kids, if you have family commitments, that is something that you can also consider adding to your agenda as well, because it helps you stay on track and you make sure that you're not forgetting anything important. So I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn your notifications on so you can be the first to know when I post my next video. Thanks for watching. Again, I'm Nurse Babe Britt, and I'll see you next time.